Well, welcome to the Mrs. R Relevant Daily Draft Podcast. I'm here with Cole, who some of you may know, and Pooh Paul. Thank you for hopping on our show. It's good to meet you.
No, I appreciate y'all for taking time out of y'all day, man.
Yeah. So we'll start, just maybe chat a little bit. But what was it like growing up with six sisters?
It was crazy as you can imagine. It was a lot of rules in place, but me and my brother, we had to hold our own. It was 3 sisters with him and 3 with me, so it was some battles fought in there. But majority of those I came out on the losing end, of course. I was outnumbered. He was outnumbered. So even if I tried to help him, we both were outnumbered. It'd be 6-2. So, but man, I love my sisters, and I was just talking to one of them earlier, right before I got on this call. I was just talking to them. They were just making sure I'm good. That's just something that they always do. They check on me and my little brother all the time.
Okay, so if your sisters played football, what positions do you think they would play?
Okay, so I got 3 that'll definitely be linebackers because like they may seem smaller, but they pack a punch though. They pack a little punch. They got a hidden strength to them. So they would definitely be my linebackers. And then I got some more that'll probably, they'll probably be good running backs. They'll probably be good running backs because they swift on their feet. Like I said, there'll be times I try to help my brother out, but they'll move too quickly for me. So I couldn't catch up to them.
Cool. Cole, you have a question?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'm going to jump right into football. Like, what was the best atmosphere, best away stadium you've played in throughout your 4-year career between Arkansas and Ole Miss?
So I would say everybody knows Death Valley. LSU gets very loud in there. So we played them on their homecoming, and it was rocking. So that stadium, of course, but another stadium would be Florida Stadium, the Swamp. That stadium is pretty loud too. That stadium was loud. We played them at Arkansas. We beat them in overtime, and then that stadium was loud when we went down in Ole Miss.
So, what was it like going? Because this year you guys went back to Arkansas Stadium to play them, kind of like a homecoming reunion for you. So, like, what was that like? I'd love to know what your thought process was going into that game.
So going back, it was honestly a little bit awkward to me, just simply because I had been playing for them for 3 years, and I'm on a team that we seen as a rival in our conference in the SEC West. So going back into that stadium, I kind of felt like it was at a moment that I felt out of place a little bit. Like, this is kind of weird. I'm playing against guys that I went to battle with for like 3 years, and so but I honestly feel as if I left a good foundation of myself and what I stand for there, because even after the game, I had a clip somewhere. It was of me just standing in the middle of the field, and all of my old teammates from Arkansas like lined up and one by one came and gave me high five, gave me a hug, tell me they was proud of me, trainers and coaches and everything. So I feel like I left a good foundation there. And when I was leaving off the field with my coach, the fans started cheering. I had a picture on my page of me dapping up. I was giving high five to Arkansas fans as I was going back into the stadium. So I'm saying into the locker room. So it was nice to get back around my old teammates, my old coaches, and just see some familiar faces.
Jimmy, got anything?
Bill, welcome.
Hello there.
Hey, how you doing?
It is a pleasure. Got a chance to see you at the Combine. Didn't get to talk to you as much as I wanted to at the Combine. And I want to talk specifically about your time transferring from, of course, Ole Miss from Arkansas. Now, to people who don't live in your part of the world, that might not seem like a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But to people who understand the geography, particularly your part of the geography of the SEC, it's clearly a big deal. And it's sort of like transferring from Michigan to Ohio State almost. What led you to make the decision that you made in your transfer, in the transfer process? And then the second question would be, you got a chance to then play against your old.
Obviously, you tap them up after the game, but you and a couple of guys got into it, not fighting, but punching, tackling, all that good stuff during the game. So what was your process like, Pooh? And of course, how'd you get the name Pooh also? I guess you can tell us about that also.
So what led to my decision to transfer? It 100%. It just had to do with my future. Had to do with me sitting down and reevaluating everything, and really just getting around a group of guys who's willing to sacrifice the things I were. I take football pretty seriously. If you watch me play, I play with a lot of intent. I play physical and fast. I just try to play the game the right way, and I felt as if it was time for me to get into a change of scenery in order for me to take that leap into my future that I wanted to. Now, with those guys at Arkansas, I still have bond with them. Even when I transferred, I was still talking to them. I let them know what was going on before I entered the portal. Before I had a meeting with Coach Pittman, I let them know that where my head was and my thought process, and that's why I feel as if those guys, we still hold respect for each other. Even though my final year, I played at a different school, there was still love between us. So, man, just getting back into Fayetteville was it was kind of like I felt as if I was out of place in a sense, because these are guys that I've been with for 3 years, and us going into this week, like when we playing against Ole Miss, it was like a hate week type of thing when I was at Arkansas, because they're seen as rivals in the SEC West. So I already know what kind of perspective or kind of motive they have on Ole Miss and Coach Kiffin and what they stand for. But so me going back into the stadium, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if they were going to treat me any differently. I didn't know how it was going to go. But out there on the field, man, it's a lot of emotions that go on. Man, it's a very physical game. It's men out there competing each and every play to be the best of the best out there, especially in a high conference as the SEC. So you going out there trying to display everything that you have each and every play and put on display what you stand for and with your play style. So there are times that we go out there, we might exchange words, but at the end of the game, man, it was kind of cool. At the end of the game, I was just telling them, I stood in the middle of the field, and each player, coach, trainer that were there my 3 years, they came by one, gave me high five, they gave me hugs, they let me know they still love me. They proud of me, and they proud of the way I've been going about my business this season, and they wishing me the best. But it was really kind of, like I said, it was really kind of me just feeling like, like it's kind of awkward. It's kind of like it was kind of like if you were to move, let's just say that you were to go do a podcast with a rival podcast, and then you come back and now you got a meeting with Mr. Jim and Cole. It's like, it's kind of weird, but the love is still there at the end of the day. So it was one of those type of deals. But the way I actually got my nickname, so to make a long story short, I played a lot of travel ball when I was growing up. So I played for a travel team out of Macon, Georgia. That team was probably 30 minutes north of my hometown. So we ended up going to Atlanta. We had played a travel team called the Atlanta Ducks. This was a team that was ranked in like the nation. They were good. So I ended up catching an interception, and I ended up scoring a touchdown with it. My mom, now I grew up in a big household, so I had 6 older sisters and a younger brother. So my mom had pullovers made out of this material like what I have on right now, and she still has this jacket because I seen it at my aunt's house when I went back home last time. It had my name painted on the top with bold letters. It said Pooh in bold letters, and it had my face. Now it had my face painted, but it had me in my uniform holding the football like this, with my jersey number and everything. And all my sisters and my aunt, they had the same jacket. And so while I was running, my mom, she was my biggest fan. She was cheering. She was going crazy on the sideline. And next thing I know, she pulls out a 3D cutout. Now this 3D cutout has my face on it. And it has like in cursive my name going across the bottom of it. And she's just screaming. She's just going crazy. So my dad, he was on the sideline just crying. He was just laughing hysterically. I tried to run and kind of like hide behind him because, like I said, nobody knew my nickname was Pooh unless you was like close family or you had to be like a real, real good friend of the family to know that my nickname was Pooh. So all my friends, they still my best friends to this day. Man, who is that? Who is Pooh? And so I'm like, man, I was on the side. I was like, man, I don't know who that is. So it was like, man, that poster look like you though. I was like, man, I don't know, man. Probably somebody. I was like, man, probably somebody who looking like me or something. I don't know. They were like,
So
man,
your
that
mother-
is you. They were like, man, that is you. And they picked on me for about 3 months straight.
So
every day.
So
we
your
went to
mother,
school.
your mother
Yep.
nicknamed you.
Yeah, yep. So ironically enough, my mom's nickname was Pooh as well as my dad's when they were younger. So that's something else that people don't know. So it was times that my grandmother would say, Pooh, come here, and both of them would walk in the kitchen. So you really had to specify who she was talking, like who my granny was talking to.
Got it. So in that same Arkansas game, you almost had a spectacular interception. Like I almost had a beautiful interception, and looks like you fought yourself a little bit with that catch. What was the defensive call, and what was your responsibility on that play? And then talk us through what you were doing there.
So if I remember correctly, we was in some forms of quarters, and I was just relaying off my responsibility, which was 3. I was relaying back, and I kind of baited the quarterback, so I wanted him to think that he had the middle of the field open. That's my zone technically, but I was just being a football player. I was just trying to bait him and see what he would do. And man, crazy enough, he threw it right there, like right in that spot. So I immediately triggered. I jump in the air. It was beautiful. It like landed dead in my hand. I was coming back down and I tried to tuck the ball like real fast because I was gonna try to land and I was gonna hit an angle and it was gonna be a touchdown because I had blockers in front of me. I was trying to pull it in and it slipped. Because I don't wear gloves. I wear tape around my hand. It slipped between my fingertips, and I was trying to maintain it while I fell. And when my body hit the turf, the ball just kind of went another way. And I was like, no. As you can see, my teammate TJ, he fell down on his knees in front of me and was like, oh. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I said, TJ, that's no me. We supposed to be off the field. But it was like, no, you good. But man, I just try to take it one play at a time.
Yeah. Do you ever? I know some guys. I played a little safety a million years ago, and some guys when they drop an easy interception will do push-ups. Some guys, well, like kind of, that's on me. Do you do anything to sort of get yourself, frankly, punish yourself in those situations, or you just turn the page?
No, so during the game I turned the page, but that following Sunday, what my coach made me do was he was like, "From now on, you're wearing gloves." So I wore gloves from then on, and then after that, he made me. Well, he didn't make me. I went in there myself. On this one, and I went to the indoor, and we had a ball machine, and I stood there until I caught. I think it was like 20 in a row with no gloves on. As you can imagine, I stood there for a pretty long time. It was like every time I hit 12, my hands just gave up on me. But I had to stand there until I did that. And man, I just really stayed. I stayed out there and probably got like a couple sprints after practice just for it.
I have another favorite play when I was breaking down your tape, and it's against, I believe, Georgia Southern. They are running a counter play, and you recognize it seemingly instantaneously. And you are able to. Now, I've seen you take on blocks. Like that's one of the things that I think people have put in scouting reports, like struggles to take on blocks. I would disagree that you struggle to take on blocks. You may not toss a 300-pound dude on his back, but you manage it, right? You're not, maybe cracking dudes in half like Jeremiah Trotter Sr. used to, right? Just, snap a 320-pound man's spine in half. You're not doing that stuff. Right. But you are managing to deal with the blocker. You're bouncing off or you're sliding off. And obviously, it looks like you cut some weight recently. You were heavier during the season. I think you were down to 222 at one point, but you were a little heavier during the season.
Yeah, so I normally play around 230, but when I weighed in at the combine, I was 220. I think I was like 222, 223, somewhere around there.
Yep. And are you going to, at your pro day, do the agilities? Because I thought you'd be one of the most agile linebackers there. I was I'll be honest, a little disappointed you didn't do agilities because I know you can move.
Right. So what led into that is I was coming off I was doing a drill and like my cleat got stuck in the front of the turf. So really the trainers had pulled me out. I was trying to tell them that I could keep going because it wasn't nothing serious. I could have kept going, but the time that they had me back there trying to talk to me and reevaluate everything, make sure I was okay. I had missed the I had missed the agility drills. But that's something that I'm going to make up at my pro day. I'm going to make up both of those agility drills at my pro day, as well as I'm going to do linebacker drills again.
Excellent.
I feel like I did good in the linebacker drills at the combine, but I still it's probably teams that still want to work me out or put me through a little circuit. So I'm going to do those at pro day as well.
So
go
I have
ahead.
a question for you.
Right.
When you graduated high school, how did the decision come about between running back and linebacker? How did that decision manifest itself?
So it really came down to, and I had a conversation with my dad about it. It really came down to what I like to do, and I like to hit people. So that was something, I felt as if I want to be on the end to, take on those blocks, make those impact plays, and I felt like I could do that more on defense than I would be able to on offense. So that led into my decision making of taking linebacker more seriously than I did running back, and I actually figured that out my sophomore year of high school. Because my dad sat me down and we was getting calls from some schools about running back. I had one school at Sniffer. I was playing Sniffer in high school as well, or like an H-back. And then, a majority of my schools were at linebacker. So that's when I decided, okay, maybe schools like me better here. So, and then as well as I sat down and broke myself down and was like, okay, I like linebacker better than I like playing offense. So I decided to take linebacker very seriously my sophomore year of high school.
Okay. Cole, do you have another question?
Yeah. So how is it like playing in that Pete Golding type of scheme where he really doesn't mind his linebackers making the plays on the football and not necessarily completely abandoning their assignment, but sort of trusting them to be there and make a play on the football at all times? It was common theme when he was at Alabama with Deontay Lawson, and it was very common for you on tape in 2024.
No doubt. So, man, first of all, Coach Golden is like a guru when it comes to football. That man knows football. Me sitting right there in the film room and going through installs, I learned more football. It's things that I didn't think that I didn't know, that I didn't think. I thought I knew everything about the game, but man, sitting down and talking with Coach Golden, I learned more from him. So with his ability to go down and break down teams to like the T, to whether it was times. Well, no, not times. Every time we had a scout report, Coach Golden had it broke down so well that you could pick up tendencies like if the O lineman his stance is this way, if he's leaning, if he's straight up, the percentage of pass and run. So his defense really evolved around his linebackers. That was something that they said in the once I was in the portal that they felt as if they had better linebackers last year, there would have been a great defense. But, now this year, the following year, which was 24, when I came in and I was playing beside TJ Daughtery, as well as I had a stacked defensive front, it made it very much easier for us to make plays as linebackers because we had guys like Jared Ivey down there, JJ Pegues, Walter Nolan, Sontaran Perkins, those Xavier Hare, those guys rotating in and out. They coming in, Will Eccles, JB, I just had I had a front that made it very easy for me. So, and anytime that those offensive fronts would try to single block those guys, a prime example would be the Georgia clip. There's a clip when we played Georgia, the whole D-line did the same move, and all three of them just circled the running back. It was so beautiful that I thought it was a screenplay. And you can see me on the film stop. But I see Carson Beck hand the ball. I think Nate Frazier was at running back. He handed the ball off, and I thought it was a screen as free as they got back there because I thought the O lineman O-laid him. But when we go back and watch the film, you just couldn't single block my front. It would have to be a double or a combo block, and then it would have to be up to the backers because you also have those guys who play relentless at the second level as well.
I mean,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Cole.
Kind of going back to that front, there's a clip against South Carolina where you brought up Walter Nolan, where he was double teamed and he kind of just swam right over and you kind of scraped right over top and you guys both made a play on, I believe it was Raheem Sanders.
Yes, sir.
What was it kind of like playing with like you said, such a talented front where, they all did their job so well that sometimes you didn't know if it was a screenplay or if it was like a play was dead before, you could even get your keys going.
Man, it just like I said, it just made it made it way easier, especially when it came to like base downs and rundowns. It made it simple because those guys with the feet like Walter Nolan. It was times I've seen that guy have 200-300 pound linemen on him, and he just dog walked both of them into the backfield. No, and he did it versus Wake Forest, but man, if he doing this versus Kentucky, he doing this versus Georgia, he doing this versus like big teams. So this ain't nothing like oh, it's just because he playing teams at low level. No, like he is consistent with that. There are plenty of clips you can pull of him just dog walking people to the backfield. But as well as I got him on one side, then I got JJ doing the same thing on the other side. So as backers, we just patiently waiting to see. We basically playing tailback. I'm trying to guess what gap he gonna hit at this point because I got this guy. I got my 3-tech over here. He working. I got my zero shade nose. He working. Both edges set because I got 2 dogs on the edge. So it's like, man, what can I run it? Like, what can I go? And at that point, either they gonna collapse the line and make the play, or he gonna bounce it and we standing right there. So it made it a whole lot easier.
So, Bill, you have another question?
I have several. So you were talking about Coach Golden, and I noticed, like I said, your play recognition had been really good, even when I go back, years in the past even before the transfer. And you went from being a really good play recognition guy to elite level play recognition. So I saw that you had done, spot dropping and some pattern matching. And then I saw you take a big jump also in terms of that. So for those that aren't familiar with your responsibilities, both in the run game, right, in your run fits, once again, like I said, I saw that beautiful Georgia Southern, right, where you fitted up a counter beautifully. Everything's going to try to influence you to step outside. You just read and read, stay where you were, and then when finally the back starts coming up, boom, you triggered. And your patience impressed me. So you said that the world sort of opened up for you when you sat with Pete Gold in the film room. What are some of the things in terms of both your run fits and run recognition, and then obviously learning more about pattern matching and not just spot dropping in zone that he managed to do for you?
So we actually had a walkthrough room in our facility, and we utilized that pretty much for everything. That's basically it's like a big room, and it has like it had a projector. He would go in there. He would take his linebackers in there. We would watch the film, whether that was of our offense during fall camp or whether it had been opponents that we was playing throughout the season. And what we would do is we would stand in there for probably maybe an hour and a half, and we would actually step through our run responsibilities, drop back into our pass responsibility, and actually talk to him about it. Whatever he installed that week, we would go in there, walk through it, and step through it, and until we knew it like the back of our hands. That way, we could play faster because me and TJ were green dot guys. It was time that we would reverse that role each and every series, drive, half court. It didn't matter. Whenever he just wanted it to be, whenever I say, TJ, you're green dot, Pooh, your wheel. Pooh, you're green dot, TJ, your wheel. We both know the responsibilities of both roles, so that way we can still go out there and play at a high level. Another thing is that Coach Golden really took time out of his day. If you were to have any questions, if you wanted to go in there and draw up different scenarios, whether we're in quarters, cover 3, man, it didn't matter. Whether cover 9, 6, it didn't matter. If you had a question about anything, you can go in there, and it been times that me and Coach Golden sat right there, and we've drawn up different scenarios and plays for about hours. And I'm just taking notes and taking this in. That's why I say Coach Golden taught me a lot of football while I was there. He taught me a lot about the concepts and about what he was doing, and that's a way that I learned. I like to get with the defensive coordinator, linebackers, in order to pick his brain and see what he's trying to accomplish at the end of the day, so I can go out there and perform that at a high level. So he was a very helpful resource throughout my improvements on the field, as well as that's something like you said, block destruction. That was something that I sat back with him and I talked to him about, and we went outside and we started doing drills. That was one of the first indie drills that we started doing, was block destruction and making the plays, or reading guard pulls, tackle pulls, how to fit those up, in different coverages and in schemes. But that just made it easier for me going into it on Saturday and make me feel more comfortable so I can flow freely.
You just mentioned cover 6, aka quarter half, as some people call it. What's your favorite play you've ever made in cover 6 coverage?
So my favorite play, it would have to. Well, I mean, they went out and empty, so we checked, but it would have had to been when we was playing Mississippi State and I caught the interception. The one time I caught the interception. We were the original call was cover 6. I can't remember the check that we made. It was something that he installed that week, specifically for that, because he knew with that young quarterback that they had, he would empty us out and only target like one receiver. So what I did was they came out and empty, and that I know it caused both linebackers to go to the edge, basically giving it like, we stacking up the box, but there's nobody in the middle of the field. On the snap, we supposed to drop, so I would drop off a number 4. TJ would drop off a number 3, and I did the same thing I did in Arkansas. I baited him until I seen him rise up, and then I broke, and then I ended up catching the interception. I tried to take it home, but I couldn't find a crease.
You had to tackle in the open field some of the toughest people to tackle in all of college football, and several guys who are now in the NFL. You've had a chance to play against that loaded, stacked, ridiculous LSU offense. Mason Taylor now is in this class, but you had a chance to see Neighbors, John Emery Jr. You had a chance. I saw you throw your body at least in front of Jaden Daniels a couple of times. You've had a chance to go against Jalen Milroe. You've had a chance to go with some of the toughest people to tackle. When you're going against dynamic, powerful athletes, and at some point it's going to be just you and them, and you got help coming, and you do a great job of trying to send guys back to your help. But leverage is obviously the first thing you're dealing with, right? Making sure that you are at least on the right shoulder, right hip, things like that. But when you are one-on-one against someone who's that elusive, that powerful, that, in the case of a guy like Mason, are big and strong, what are you doing in terms of your tackling fundamentals to make sure that you at least give good effort so you aren't getting clowned in film study?
So really just follow back on what Coach Golden taught us throughout the week. So Coach Golden knows that we're playing high caliber players as well. So he will put us in different situations in practice in order for us to, whether it's covering them man on man, because throughout my career, I'll probably say like the best running back I had to cover was Jahmyr Gibbs, and he is going insane in the NFL. So, I mean, ridiculous speed. So, like you said, it's all about leverage. But one thing that Coach Golden always taught us, whether it was tackling or whether it was man coverage, always stay on the inside hip. Is always track his inside hip, inside and out. If he's on the sideline, use the sideline as your hip. If he cut that way, he's going out of bounds. If he cut into you, I mean, you're making a play. So it necessarily came back to falling back on the coaching points that Coach Golden provided us throughout the week, and that really helped me be successful in those situations.
And for those that have not the opportunity to play both in a pattern matching zone and a spot dropping zone, what things are you doing differently now that you're playing more pattern match? Of course, obviously in NFL, it's more pattern matching. And, high school zone and even some college zone is usually spot dropping.
So when it comes to pattern matching, I feel as if it's all about what's going on in your zone. So that's something that Coach Golden always taught us. Just because there's nothing going on in your zone doesn't mean you can't take a quick peek in order to help somebody else out, or as well as cover your own ground. So one thing that we did in ours when we went pattern matches, we always drop off the quarterback. So if he's doing a 5-step, we're going to drop until he's settled his feet, and we're going to get eyes back and see if we get any crossers, any over routes, any OTBs sitting right behind me, or whatever it may be. But it was also as well as, let's just say, for example, 2 receivers go vertical and the back flare. I wouldn't go grab the back right now because we call that a 5-yard no cover zone. What that means is we want the quarterback to throw that, we'll tackle that for a 3-yard gain. Better than hitting a bomb 20 yards down the field, getting explosive, So it was more of keeping leverage on your guy, but as well as keeping depth in order to force them to throw them short throws and try to pin us that way down the field.
Yep. So the other thing that jumped out at me when I was watching you is you have a really, really good ability. You take the right angles almost all the time, right? You have a really low, 7.6% missed tackle rate. That's, in the bottom, there's probably maybe 15 guys in America who have a better missed tackle rate to play your position. And like I said, I think that's because you set up. You're in the right position. I think as you said, you're attacking the proper direction, things like that. if there is a tackle that you could revisit, right, the one you could take back, I wish I could do this one all over again. Which tackle stands out for you as the one that you're the most angry at yourself about maybe not making?
So it was the 2022 season. I remember this because me and Drew Sanders were playing beside each other in the Auburn game. Now, this is when they had Tank Bigsby. They had Tank Bigsby and they had Jarquez Hunter in the backfield. I remember it was a screenplay, and Tank Bigsby, I think he did it too fast, and he ended up in front of the O-lineman. So the O-lineman hadn't released yet. I was coming downhill, and he did a beautiful like spin move. He spent, but then he got tackled right away. I set him up. I tried to send him back to my hip, but I also as y'all know, I'm a pack a punch type player. I try to come through, and my dad always taught me as a linebacker, you got to be the cleanup guy. Like you got to come through and just run through somebody's face like they ain't out there. Right. So I thought he didn't see me, but I was coming full speed. I had read the play all the way, so I didn't get as much depth on my drop because I knew that he was going to check release. I was coming downhill, and I'm thinking like, yeah, I got him. I'm finna make the crowd shake with this one. And so he ended up catching and turned immediately, and I'm guessing out of instinct he spun, but I ended up grabbing it. I ended up getting a piece of his abdomen, and he ended up getting tackled right away. So it's not what I wanted, but if I had to go back and I was like, man, I wish I had that play over. It'll be that one. That way, I would have known what's going on. I would have triggered way faster than I did. I got down there in time, but if I feel as if I triggered faster, I would have made that. I would have made that play.
So you have become acquainted with two of my old dear friends. I see you're still wearing your East West Shrine Game gear. I've known Eric Galco since before he went to law school. Known him for many, many years. And then the DPP at Ole Miss is a very good friend of mine named Alex M. Brown, who I've known since he was 18 years old. And those are two gentlemen that obviously have evaluated you. And, obviously one helped bring you to Ole Miss. The other one helped select you for the Shrine Game. When you got into the latter part of the season, you started to hear things, right? Chance to play at the next level, all-star games coming at you. I'm selecting, obviously, your representation going forward. And you're still a college student. People forget about that. People forget that you're still a college student, right? All your stuff's going on. You're still going to classes. What's your major and what's your GPA?
So I did sociology, and what I want to do with that, I want to enter into the criminal justice field, and I wanted to end up being a CIA agent. So what people don't know is, I actually told myself if I didn't get any offers coming out of high school, I wanted to be a Navy SEAL.
Okay. All right.
So I want that was something that I see myself doing. I currently don't know the GPA off the top of my head. I know I finished the last semester with a 3.4 GPA, 3.3, something like that. I have to ask my advisor again. I still keep in contact with him because I have to finish up 3 classes that didn't transfer over from Arkansas. When I transferred, the school didn't accept those credits. So I got 3 more classes, which are 9 more hours to take. And I'm trying to get those scheduled for this upcoming summer.
Excellent. So, Pooh, your GPA is higher than mine when I went to college like 30 years ago. Cole, do you have another question?
Yeah, I have 3 more. So Jihad Campbell had mentioned at the Combine when asked this question that his favorite role, and his favorite kind of coverage play was dropping back in a Tampa 2 look. That's his favorite thing to do. What is your favorite, favorite coverage or favorite role in pass coverage that Ole Miss or Arkansas did scheme-wise?
So my favorite was cover 3. And the reason I said that because we had a whole lot of tools to use in cover 3, whether it was condensed, whether it was empty, no matter what it was, I feel as if we was as backers, we were in great position to not have to carry those vertical routes as much. Because in our cover 3, so as you know, in cover 3, your weak side safety, well, whoever is away, the safety that's away from the nickel is going to travel down. So one, you have an extra hat in the run fit. That's a benefit to me because it allows us as linebackers to play slow because we got a guy at 12 yards. They got to come make a play at the line of scrimmage, So it allows us to play slow, which is one thing that Mr. Carroll that I seen, when you mentioned that you were patient. That's one thing that comes with that. That's I gotta buy him enough time behind me to come with. If I mess up something, he's the eraser. What Coach Golden would say, he's the eraser. So if I was supposed to be outside and I stepped inside, he gonna do nothing but come down and make me right. He gonna be a free hitter because I'm already taking up the offensive lineman.
Right.
So that's one reason why I liked it. But as well as let's just say we get a 2x2 look and 2 to the boundary goes vertical. That stress is not on me. It's on the safety. And I'm playing, like I said, the 5-yard no cover zone, top down on the back, who's just doing a swing route for 3 yards. So it allowed me in the pass game to zone drop, whether that was weak hook or strong hook. It gave me the ability to drop back, give body presence in order to help that safety that's over the top. They got to run with that post or whatever they running behind me, but as well as keep leverage on the back that's leaking out. And so it really forces the quarterback to either 3 things: sack, take the check down, or he's going to throw something down the field, a 50-50 ball down the field.
And then my second question is, you can confirm or deny this. I'm not sure if you're allowed to. But reports say you met with the Carolina Panthers at the Shrine Bowl. How do you think you would fit into that cover 3 heavy, zone dropping scheme that Avero runs down in Carolina?
So I feel like that'll be a perfect fit for me. I'm blessed to whatever the organization franchise chooses me. But I'm just saying, if I were to end up there, it'll be great for me because Coach Golden's base defense was basically cover 3. It was either cover 3 or cover 9, depending on whatever he felt that game to help us out. So cover 3 is something that I've been running since I was in high school. There's something that comes natural to me. It's something that comes natural to me, so that I feel like I'll be comfortable once it came to run or pass, and I know how to handle those different situations. Now, I would want to still meet with the linebacker coach in order to get a feel of what he's trying to do in his scheme because cover 3 is cover 3, but it's different things that we call it. It's different things. It's different ways that we run it. He might have a different check for empty, balance. I don't know. But I still want to get with him and learn and draw up different scenarios in order to pick his mind a little bit. But I would definitely feel comfortable.
And then my last question for you is, who's a player that you kind of base your game off of, or who is the biggest role model for you as a player?
So I actually got 3. Well, 4. I met one of them. He's an NFL Hall of Fame. Y'all know Patrick Willis. I ended up meeting him. That was surreal. I ended up meeting him right before the Georgia game, like right before we boarded the bus for the Walk of Champions. I ended up meeting him. I posted that picture on my Twitter. Another guy I've been getting compared to him since I was at Arkansas, Dre Greenlaw. Somebody who plays with a lot of grit, somebody who, is sideline to sideline, looked at as a field general, but he plays with a lot of energy. He plays with a lot of want to. So that's somebody. Another guy was Patrick McQueen. He was somebody that I got compared to a lot. He was somebody just simply based off of his instinct. He's like, in my opinion, he's more of an instinctive player. His instincts help him make those big plays. But you can tell he's a student of the game, and he's somebody who watches a lot of film. That way he can set himself up. And my last one would have to be Fred Warner. Now, I got a couple Fred Warners. I got a couple of those, but they're just saying that basically because, like, Fred Warner is he has looked at as the captain of that defense. He's the guy who's making the checks, getting everybody alive, making sure everybody on the same page. So that's why I got that comparison.
Okay. Hey, Pooh, we're definitely running over on the amount of time that we had suggested.
But then I'll fire off 1 or 2 quick ones, and then we'll let you live your life.
Yeah. So
You good? Y'all good?
One, but you are allowed to punt this question and take Bill's question if you choose. Out of all of the Ole Miss defenders, who's going to be drafted first?
I was gonna say me, but I think it's Walter Nolan. I mean, I think just being realistic. I mean, you can turn on ESPN right now. He's a top 15, 10 pick, but on top of that, I can see that, man. Walter Nolan is a freak athlete. Like I tell a lot of people, he has to be the best defensive lineman I ever played behind. It's out of him. I played with a lot of guys at Arkansas, like Cameron Ball. I played with Landon Jackson. I played with a lot of guys, Eric Gregory. I played with a lot of good guys, but it's just some people that just got that God-given talent, like that takes no effort. Like when I tell y'all, I've literally seen Walter just come out of his stand, grab an offensive lineman, and just long arm him like the most nonchalant way and make a play, as well as he has a little speed to him. I done seen him chase down Lenore Stellas and get a sack.
Right.
So it's like, how can I compete? Like if I had to choose a defensive lineman to play with, it would be he would be my first person. Like I got that question a lot when I was talking to scouts. Like, man, it's your first day. We get you, and you look up and you got Walter Nolan. I'm ready to go. That's all I need. I just need him right there in front of me, and he's gonna be ready to go as well. But it's just you don't run across them guys that very often. Like when I say a high caliber defensive lineman, that's somebody who I think of.
Okay, Bill, you got a couple to close it out?
Yeah. So who was your toughest cover? You covered, obviously, we talked about guys who are already in the NFL, 3 or 4 guys who are in this draft class are going to end up being taken in the first 100 picks. Who was the toughest cover and why?
Man, I got a lot. I had to guard Mason Taylor. He was somebody LSU like to utilize their tight ends a lot. So he was a very physical run blocker, but as well as he was somebody who was looked to like majority of the time in the passing game.
Right.
I had to guard Jameer Gibbs one time. And he can just run in a straight line. He got wheels. Like he's fast.
Right.
Who's another guy? I mentioned Tank Bigsby. I had to guard Jaquez Hunter. I had to guard him a couple times. Man, Rock. I played with him. We had to cover him in practice, but as well as play against him when he was at South Carolina and I was at Ole Miss. So that was another guy, Juju McDowell, which is the backup running back, or they were flip flopping. Man, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
It's a bunch of players. Trevor Etienne had to guard him.
Yep.
I guarded him twice actually.
Was that on that wheel route where you almost got like out of position, but then you fought your way back into it?
Yes, him. But I also had to guard him when he was at Florida.
Right.
So I had to guard him there too. Man, I got a lot of guys. I was fortunate enough to play with play against and with a whole lot of big name athletes.
The other thing I loved about breaking you down, because a lot of people talk about your movement skills and your coverage ability, your instincts. Those are all things I love. But one of the things that like made me sort of sit up in my chair straight upright was how well you timed up and slipped through on blitzes. Give me your favorite blitz, right? Your favorite blitz and the favorite play you made on that favorite blitz in your career.
So it would have to be. It was 1 week. It was actually when we played. Who did we play? That was Georgia Southern. We actually played Georgia Southern. We was in a dime look. It was third down. It was in a dime look, it was second and long. It was one of those scenarios. But we ended up switching to our dime package, and he had drew up a specific play, and we ended up carrying it into a next week. I'm trying to think off the top of my head who we did it for, but it was a blitz to where if the back, so it was kind of like a option blitz. So if the back was fast, I would have to go guard the back man on because the back end is man up everywhere else. But if we kind of already knew once we went down, they was probably going to max protect. And the back usually stepped up to the linebacker. But what I did was, so I had to read the center and basically fight through the back, if that makes sense. So what the center did was he ended up doing the wrong, I guess he went the wrong way because him and the back ended up on the same line. And what I did was I crossed face. I ended up crossing phase and getting off the block and ended up chasing the quarterback. Like we probably ran about a good 10, 15 yards in a circle. And I ended up chasing him down and ended up getting a big third down stop.
Yeah. Yeah. That I remember that was pursuit. I read, relentless pursuit on that play. I know the play you're talking about. And, physically you're a lot of what they look for in the modern will. And, sometimes they even might play you right in the middle as a Mike, even though you're not the biggest cat in the world. But you've shown, like I said, you can handle big guys. You've been bounced around and, nothing broke off you. You were durable. The one thing that people always sort of complain about is arm length, right? You have shorter arms for a guy your size. but I've noticed you've managed to account for it.
Mhm.
Once you realize, you're not going to be one of those guys who can just, like you said, just long arm your way through certain situations. How did you work around the fact that you have, shorter than average arms?
Just putting myself in situations in order to better myself in that perspective. I knew I didn't have, longest arm. That's just something that I can't fix overnight. So what I did was I went back and I sat down and I started evaluating different linebackers. I started looking at guys like Drake Greenlaw. I started watching guys like Patrick McQueen, Roquan Smith. Those guys, how do they get off blocks? Or taking advice from vets and just listening to them and learning about them. But as well as, like I said, talking with Coach Golden, and, put myself in those situations in practice. So when it came to the game, it looked natural. But it was really, just keeping up my strength, just eating right, maintaining, and just going through these workouts pretty hard because I knew I had to make up the arm length with possibly strength and technique. So what I did was I harped on those things. That was something that I was looking at in the offseason. I seen it raise a lot of questions with NFL scouts, and that's something that I sat down with myself, and I was like, Coach Golden, I want to get better at this. If I want to go to the NFL, I need to get better at this. So he said, okay. We came together. We came together with some drills, workouts, extra stuff to do after practice to get my wrist, things like my wrist strength stronger, forearm strength, tricep extent, whatever it was, just to help me better myself. So that way I could get off those blocks. So I could shock an old lineman and get off and make a play.
Excellent. Are you doing bench also at your pro day?
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. Well, I look forward to speaking to you again in the future. I know that you have a bunch of things to get to. This is the busiest time of your life. I do want to thank you so much for your talent, your fantastic film, and most of all, your time.
Hey, man, I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all for taking time out of y'all day to just talk with me and get to know me.
Yeah, so Pooh, like we were talking pre-show, I definitely want to give a couple shout-outs. So I definitely want to give a shout-out to your father. Because when Draft Professor covered you, we covered you in November. I'd have to go verify the exact date, but he was retweeting the podcast.
Right.
Right, when we were covering you. And then I know that we did a Shrine Bowl episode, and Cole was definitely singing your praises on the Shrine Bowl episode. Your father was retweeting it again, and nearly any mock draft I've ever seen where somebody drafts you, your father's retweeting it.
Yeah,
so,
man. That joke is like a Twitter guru.
Hopefully your father sees this, and I just want to express my sincere appreciation because your father finding the Draft Professor is how this happened.
Right.
So, right, your agent helped set it up too, so I want to give a shout out to your agent. Cole, Bill, I appreciate your help in putting this together. So thank you. Pooh, good luck. If Buffalo drafts you, I will buy your jersey, and I will come to training camp and see you.
No
and
doubt.
I know that you met with Buffalo.
Yes, sir. I did.
Yeah. But anyways, for the 42 podcasters at the Draft Professor, for Cole, for Bill, and especially our special guest, Chris Pooh Paul. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy your Thursday, and we'll see you on a podcast again in about an hour. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.